Hey Digifans, I'm Billiam, and Digi-Dudes not here with us today. It's super weird. I'm still the Digi-Dudes. We're still the Digi-Dudes. It's just I'm solo today. So Digi-Dude ended up getting COVID. He's pretty sick at the moment. He's gonna be okay. He's doing better and better every day. But right now he's pretty sick, and Pico Digi-Dude ended up getting the flu at the same time. So things are pretty hectic and crazy right now in the Digi-Dude's house. But I still wanted to get an episode out to you guys, and I figured I'd do one that I can't really do with Digi-Dude here. He's just a little too crazy for this. This is a really sensitive and articulate thing to do. But it's something I really want to show you guys if you want to start collecting the older devices in particular. And it's cleaning. How to clean your devices. Because it can make a huge difference on cleaning the old devices. Your old DMs and your old pendulums there. For instance, when I got my original Nature Spirit here, the pendulum wasn't working inside, and all I had to do was open it up and then just clean out the pendulum, and it started working great after that. So that's exactly what I'm going to show you guys how to do today. We're going to be going over how to clean the battery connections and how to clean your pendulums. This will also carry over for anybody using a DM, except you don't have a pendulum to worry about. You're just going to be cleaning your battery connections, but it's going to work the same exact way. The only difference between these two is that the original pendulums have smaller screws in them than the original DMs do. The original DMs, you can use pretty much just a size 1 micro screwdriver here, small screwdriver, for the whole device. But for a pendulum, you're going to need a few different devices depending on how into it you get. So let's get started. First things you're going to need is isopropylene alcohol, or just straight rubbing alcohol, long as it's 90% or higher. This is 91, so we're great. You're going to need some Q-tips. I personally like these little modeling ones with this nice fine tip on it. There we go. Now we got the focus. Because you could really get in the detailed spots and not worry about getting the alcohol in other places you don't want it to do. But a standard regular Q-tip will also work too. I like to use both for various reasons, and we're going to go over that as we do this. Alright, so you got your screwdrivers. I got them on here. I got a whole set here. This is just a computer repair kit that I got. It's got lifter sets in it, which do come in handy for various things I've had to do with modding and cleaning devices in the past. But let's get started. All right, so we're going to get right over here to the back, and we're going to remove the battery case first, the battery cover first, which we're going to go to smaller screwdriver for that. So, I highly recommend do not lose a single screw. These are kind of small, and they do end up being easy to lose. Remove our batteries. This one looks really nice already just by looking at it in here. It looks nice and clean, the connections. You can just straight go in with alcohol and a Q-tip and just start cleaning like this. That will help, but you're not going to do the best job by doing it that way. I know some people like to do it that way because they're kind of afraid to open these up, which I do not blame them. Now we're going to go to a little bit of a bigger screwdriver, and we're going to do these 4 screws here. Okay. But this one, like I said, is clean. It doesn't have to be cleaned right now. Actually, no, I think this one uses... No, we're going to end up going with the smaller one on this one too. Sorry, guys. Pop one screw. I highly recommend having like a little tray. I don't have one with me right now. I normally would. Or just creating separate piles. Have a nice open workspace you can do this on and just have separate piles. Okay. Feels loose. Let's pop these last couple of screws out. One. Nope, this one doesn't want to come out. This is, oh, it's still attached a little bit. All right. Go a little bit more, guys. A little tap. All right, I guess this one doesn't want to come out. Screw wants to stay in place. All right, now this is going to be where you're now going to start opening up, and it's going to get a little bit tricky here. I want you guys to be really careful, because when you open it, peel it back. Oops, guys. Slowly, gently into the side like this, because you don't want to mess up your speaker wires here. Now let's get a nice look. The chain is just going to be on this little peg there, and the peg, I recommend taking it out so you don't lose it accidentally. Open it up. This actually is really clean in here overall and looks really nice. We really don't need to do any actual cleaning on these because I do overall clean my devices pretty thoroughly and pretty often. I wouldn't say often, but whenever I get a new one of an old one, I always make sure I open it up and clean it first because it's going to make a world of difference for you. This is your pendulum right here, and this is what you're going to end up wanting to clean. You're going to want to clean the round head here, and then you want to clean this part where it makes the connections. Be super, super careful not to mess with this spring here. This spring, which is just a little wire, is a total pain in the tush if you have to put it back on. It is obnoxious and it is difficult. But then we're going to end up cleaning right here where the batteries go on the sides there. This part here, down that panel, opposite side here, and this panel. So we're just going to do, again, this one's really clean inside, but we're going to go through and we're going to clean it together a little bit just to show you guys how I like to do it. And it's really not that difficult. The worst part is about this, once you get it open like this, is to make sure you don't stress those wires there and break your solder connections, because then your speaker is not going to work. It's going to be the same thing, again, for the original DMs. The speaker is in the same exact place. For most Japanese devices, the speaker is going to be in the same place. It's even with the Japanese DMXs. The speaker is going to be on the back in the same place, but on the English DMXs, the speaker is built into the board itself, just like the English version 20s. All right, so got our Q-tip. You can dump a little bit into a cup, but I'm a rebel, and I just dump the Q-tip right in and go. All right, now you're just going to take the Q-tip and just gently start to work it over the connections there and just clean it up. Easy as that. If they are real dirty, they'll start leaving a residue on it as you go, of just kind of dirt residue. And then that's when I recommend having one of these just to go back in and clean off that residue. Just like that. And as you can see here, it is a pretty clean device, but you can see a little bit of dirt there on the cotton because we are cleaning it up. It is doing its thing. Oh, that screw came out. Don't want to lose that. All right. And again, just take your time, guys. This isn't a rush. The more thorough you are with it, the more patient you are with it, the better job you're going to end up doing. And you could really bring back to life your device this way. Like I said, I've had my own examples and my own experiences of devices not working, and then going through and doing a nice job, taking my time, and cleaning all the connections up and everything, and then bring the device right back to life. There we go. Now, when you're doing this with a modern pendulum, you don't actually need to worry about cleaning the pendulum in there, because the pendulums on a modern pendulum are just there for show. They use a pedometer built into the circuit board there, and that the pendulum inside is just to make noise, just for nostalgia and just for show. But you would just go in here, and to clean that pendulum, you get your Q-tip down in there. That's why I like to use these really small fine tip Q-tips. These are modeling or hobby ones. And you just go back and forth around the pendulum there, just cleaning that up. And you want to make sure you clean this rubber stopper here too, this rubber spot here too. And I like to clean this spot here also to get a good connection going for it. And then be really careful with this screw here. This is a really fine aluminum screw. Aluminum is a soft metal, so it's very easy to strip. But if your pendulum's having problems working and is not reading right, I do recommend taking that whole piece off to clean the entire thing back and front then, and then putting it back on. But again, that's a very fine screw. It's not a common screw size. You're gonna need something like this set that I have that goes down to some like 000s in order to get that screw out and back in. But again, if you do, be super careful with it. It is very easy to strip because it is a soft metal and it's a small screw. And then once you get that screw out, the only other screw that's actually, let's actually go over what screws hold the board in and how they work. Since I have it open, if you want to like mod one or customize one, you have these 4 screws right here that are going to be the same size as the screw we took out right here to get it in. And then you have one also super tiny screw right here that holds the whole pendulum mechanism together. And once you get all of those off, then the board can come out and you'll have access to the background, the frame, and the buttons in there, the screen. So you can customize all that stuff to make it your own device if you want. But I highly recommend taking your time, being super careful, and very patient with that, because this pendulum is kind of fussy to get it back together right. It's that spring we talked about just a second ago. It is a huge pain in the tush to get in place and get it working correctly, and it is very easy to bend. You can barely even see it here on camera. That little screen, that little spring there. It wraps around this spot and it wraps around that spot right there. Alright guys, now that we've gone over how to clean it, what we're doing here, that's pretty much it. So we're going to put this peg back in. Oh, if I can grab it with my big fingers. Just this little metal rod here. Put our chain back on. Something I forget to sometimes. And then just gently fold it shut and just kind of wiggle it a little bit until you get that peg to line up on both sides there. There we go. Back in and lined up. We'll drop these screws in. You can, if you have a really dirty device and you just want to go to snug, that's all you need to do with these. But if you have a really dirty device and the rubbing alcohol or isopropylene alcohol isn't working to clean it up, you can use vinegar for it. I never have, because if you do that, you have to immediately go in afterwards with the rubbing alcohol to clean the vinegar up, because the vinegar will corrode, will eat away at your device if you leave it on. So it's something that I've never gone through and done, because I've always been afraid of not thoroughly cleaning it out enough and damaging the device. But the rubbing alcohol won't do that. It's going to evaporate off, and your device will be perfectly fine from there. Like I said, just nice and snug is all you need. Now, if you're going to be storing your devices long term, the proper way to store them is without the batteries in them, because the battery itself will leak battery acid over time and then causing more corrosion back on those connections we just cleaned up. And this isn't something you need to do all the time, but again, I highly recommend it when you get a brand new device to go through and clean up all of those connections, especially if that pendulum isn't working right for you. If it's not counting it right, go through, clean up that pendulum, and it'll make a world of difference for you guys. I promise you that. This device I am currently using, well, I'm going to be using, so I'm going to put the batteries back in it. And we got the most satisfying noise ever whenever you take apart your device and put it back together again, is that beep there, letting you know that it still works and you didn't screw anything up. And boom, Bandai. There we go. When you guys do this, it will reset your device. So keep that in mind. If you're running a Digimon already and you decide, hey, maybe I should clean them up, make sure you finish out your runs if you want to do that. There is a trick to keep them alive if you're going to be swapping batteries. And what you can do is you can take a Digimon that is up and running with batteries in it, and then you can connect it through the connections there, and then put like a couple rubber bands around them, and it'll split and share the power between the two of them. And then you can flip it off and swap batteries out and keep your Digimon on and running while you swap batteries. That's a fun little trick I recently learned. Alright guys, so that is how you properly maintain and clean all your old devices. Again, modern devices, they're not old enough yet to be getting dirty and need to be cleaned up like that. But all these ones, I highly recommend going through and giving them a nice cleaning, at least when you get them, or every couple of years. Go through, give them a nice cleaning there to keep your Digimons alive. These are from 1997, 1998, 1999 here. So they've been around for over 20 years, working great, and they'll keep on working if you keep up on your maintenance. It's springtime, guys, and it's time for some spring cleaning. If you guys found this video helpful and learned something you didn't know already, please giga blast that like button and touch of evil subscribe button down below. I guess since Digi-Dudes not here, I'll do his part. There, it helps us out a ton. Thank you to everybody who likes, subscribes, comments, watches. You're all amazing. Speaking of amazing, we have all of our amazing Patreon supporters over here. You guys are the best. Thank you so much for helping to support the channel and constantly helping it grow and make it better, because that's what I want. That's what Digi-Dude wants, is to give you guys the best Digimon content, the best Digimon VPET content we can possibly put out. And as always, from me, my family, to you, have a Digitastic day!